Hi, it's Mine Crypto here. I hope we're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world.
Remember, this isn't financial advice. Always do your own research.
Mine Crypto here. I hope we're all having a wonderful day. I know I am. We are losing. So the link chain crew will have you believe. So first and foremost, we look at these crypto bubbles. We are ranked 38 with a market cap of 1.09 billion, sitting at almost that $90 mark with a 24-hour volume of 10.17 million. We are up 0.5% in the hour, up 0.3% in the day, down 2.6% in the week, and down 9.4% in the month. And it looks like everybody is in that blood red sea that we see right here. So we discuss the topic in hand. We are losing. So we discuss this. Quant, the bank of central banks, the BIS, is unquestionably powerful and influential. Among other things, it hosts the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision. It's not hard to understand. They make the decisions. Quant got this. And we see this tweet from Construction Trader ETH. Unified programmable ledger, we have a very solid foundation. The idea is to use that foundation, incorporate new technology, i.e. overledger. So let's have a listen.
Unified programmable ledger. Give us a sense of why and what the vision hopes to achieve eventually.
What we want is to lay the ground, the infrastructure for a modern financial system. Now, the technology is moving very fast. We have a very solid foundation. So the idea is basically to use that solid foundation, incorporate the new technologies, and facilitate the development of a future financial system.
What gaps in particular are you trying to fill?
Well, one, of course, is that financial system, as efficient as it is today, is still full of transaction costs, compliance costs too. So one very important motivation is to reduce those frictions as much as possible. The other thing is to onboard more people more easy. For example, one of the main issues related to lack of sufficient inclusion is that precisely transaction costs are very, very high. Therefore, to manage small payments or to give access to small firms, so small, medium-sized enterprises, or services to people in remote areas is still a major problem.
One of the priorities for the BIS in 2023 is to focus on stable coins and CBDCs as well. I'm just wondering, in terms of regulation, what additional regulation do you foresee that's needed?
Well, in terms of, yes, cryptocurrencies need to be regulated. It is obvious now that it is necessary. Certainly aspects of consumer investment protection is very important. And well, of course, also focusing on the exchanges. The exchanges are key. How some of these activities interact with the traditional financial system. Some should be valid, some should be tolerated, and those are the ones we should regulate.
What do you think is impacting the views of central bankers the most right now when it comes to the crypto ecosystem? I mean, how much of it has to do with the FTX incident, for instance? Well,
you know, a few years ago, crypto assets and cryptocurrencies were in a way put as an alternative to fiat money. I think that battle has been won. Technology doesn't make for trusted money. The most important aspect is for these activities not to have a systemic impact. I mean, at the end of the day, if this grows dramatically and we have events like FTX, that at some point could have a systemic impact. And that's something that we want certainly to prevent.
India, which is hosting the G20, is pushing for greater regulation on cryptocurrencies. What conversations are you expecting at the G20 and where are they in those conversations?
I would say the most important body of the G20 that has to do with financial activities is the Financial Stability Board. The Financial Stability Board, where ministers of finance, regulators, central banks get together, and they decide, I would say, the main rules of the game, I would say, for the international financial system. I anticipate a strong statement in favor of regulation. It will be up to each country to decide which particular approach they will follow in terms of the alternatives that there are out.
Here you go, guys. The bank of central banks. So we look here, we see more FUD. So far, I've found zero update on their attendance, which I find odd. I'm surprised that Quant Sisters are not questioning this. Well, is absolutely the most childish play I've ever heard, because if if McDonald's is at their own event promoting McDonald's burgers, then they're going to say their burgers are the best. Now, essentially, this is exactly what's at play. Swift is promoting Chainlink, so therefore it's not likely to promote Quant because Quant are working with the BIS, the IMF, you name it. And Sans says it here, it's one event where Chainlink has a podium because of their collab. They need to shield CCIP to stay relevant. Where is CL in any other event? Exactly. It's unbelievable. Complete bias. And I think most of the Chainlinks, Marines as they call themselves, are essentially following their own confirmation bias. But hey ho, we continue. So I see this from Quanfany. The harsh reality of Swift using Link, the results released by Swift were merely the experimental phase, and no products have been created yet. Just smoke and mirrors, like always. Don't be fooled by their influences. And as we can see here, to gain deeper insight into what Swift Chainlink collaboration means for the broader cryptocurrency ecosystem, Kitco Crypto spoke with Alexandra Keck, head of digital securities at Six Digital Exchange, SDX, one of the firms that participated in the experiments. The first thing Keck noted was that the results released by Swift were merely the experimental phase and no products have been created yet. The objective of the experimentation was to see how the financial industry could start operating on blockchains and grow using their existing infrastructure, he said. So there you go. And I posted this the other day. It's becoming clear that Swift is slowly being ousted with the BRICS nations growing and purchasing power parity. The BRICS nations are slightly larger than the G7. Swift is desperately trying to remain relevant, but as they say, you can't polish a turd. The leaders of BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, agreed at the summit in Johannesburg to encourage more local currency usage in trade and financial transactions as they seek to shift away from dependence of the US dollar. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, attending the summit in place of President Vladimir Putin, said earlier on Thursday that BRICS bloc planned to set up an alternative international payment system to SWIFT. This is necessary because we do have a large volume and increasing volume of trade between 5 current BRICS members, Lee told a press briefing on sidelines of the summit. So it's important to have a more sophisticated payment system. This is not only the Russians' idea. Indian Foreign Secretary Vinay Quatra told a separate press briefing that alternative payment system was an area of promise. So there you go. So moving away. So therefore, Swift will become redundant in those areas as we know the reasons why. Then we see this. I posted this yesterday, and who will connect them all together? The ISO master GV, and as we know, this was from Ingrid, ISO 20022 versus Swift. What it means for CBDCs and cryptocurrencies, two cryptocurrencies that are members of the ISO 20022 standards body are Ripple, XRP, and Stellar XLM. And Quant, as we know, the daddy, will connect them all together. So let's have a listen to this.
What exactly is ISO 20022? Well, it's a new global standard for financial messaging that is making waves in the industry. Basically, it helps financial institutions securely and efficiently exchange information with each other. It was created by the International Organization for Standardization, or ISO, an independent, non-governmental international group that sets international standards for things like quality and security management. If you ever sent a wire transfer, you maybe heard of another messaging standard called SWIFT. It's similar to 20022, but there are some key differences between the two, like the data format, level of detail, and security features. SWIFT uses its own format, while 20022 uses XML, which is more flexible and easier to integrate. Some central banks and financial regulators have already required the use of ISO 20022 for specific systems and applications. For example, the European Payments Council has set a deadline for 2025 for all SEPA payments to use 20022, while the Federal Reserve in the US is encouraging financial institutions to adopt it by 2023. So what does this mean for digital currencies? ISO 20022 has the potential to play a key role in the development and implementations of CBDCs, as it provides a flexible and standardized framework for financial messaging that ensures consistency and interoperability between systems. Adopting ISO 20022 could increase the use of cryptocurrencies that are compliant with it. Two cryptocurrencies that are members of the ISO 20022 standards body are Ripple's XRP and Stellar Lumens. Recognizing the value of ISO 20022 messaging and its potential to transform the financial industry, Stronghold has utilized this technology in conjunction with blockchain ledger payments in select projects. Messaging standards are crucial for enabling the efficient and secure exchange of financial information between different systems and technologies. They play a critical role in improving the overall performance and reliability of the financial services industry.
There we go. As we know, Chainlink is not a member of the ISO standards. We see this article from Cointelegraph. WEF 2022, Swift probably won't exist in 5 years, says MasterCard CEO Michael Maybach. CEO of MasterCard told an audience of blockchain executives that he expects Swift to phase out of existence in as little as 5 years' time. MasterCard CEO Michael Maybach said on Tuesday that he doesn't expect Swift, one of the most widely used platforms for cross-border fiat transactions, to exist in 5 years' time. Maybach was speaking at a panel session on the central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, as part of a global blockchain business council's GBBC Blockchain Central Davos conference, which ran adjacent to the World Economic Forum 2022 in Davos, Switzerland. Toward the end of the panel discussion, when the moderator asked each panelist whether they thought Swift would still exist in 5 years, Maybach caused the audience to gasp in shock after answering no, according to the Cointelegraph reporter who attended the session. The response was not expected, given his position at MasterCard that the panelist before him. Does he know something that we don't? I expect he does. With all of this information that's going on, with the world changing and moving to better standards, out with the old, in with the new. And I couldn't bring you any more evidence than this, other than this particular tweet, which I'm going to leave you with, because we noticed that many of the link chain crowd like to say that Quant doesn't have much in the bank. Well, it's because we don't have ego money. Let's have a look at this. So, was 530 million yesterday? Sergey dumped again. Get ready within 4 to 8 weeks for the effects to play out. It always catches up. Now, we're seeing this lots and lots. Sergey is literally dumping his coins on his investors. So I'll leave you to connect the dots on that. So what is happening? They're building their bank account up. It's all ego money. It looks great. It's basically liquidating its own investors. And then they say that Gilbert Verdian is a scam. Well, we'll find out. Remember, none of this is financial advice. Always do your own research. If you like this video, please subscribe. Please hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any further important updates. All the best, and I'll catch you later.
Remember, this isn't financial advice. Always do your own research.